So I'm going to be talking about global warming. What is global warming, guys? You can write it on chat. Global warming. What is global warming? Or speak out. What is global warming, guys? Do you guys know what global
Around
warming?
the world.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The world.
The world is what?
Moving.
It's moving. Well, yes, it's moving, but warming. What does warm mean? Warm. It's warm. Está calentito.
The seasons.
The warming is warm. Basically, it means global warming means the world is getting a bit hotter. It's getting a little hotter. Every year it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. Did you guys know that?
So like human-induced warming?
Yeah. And we're gonna see some videos on that stuff. So basically, global warming, it's getting warm. It changes the temperatures in the world. It changes the weather, the oceans, the rain. So the environment is going crazy. And it's not good. It's really not good. So let's hold on. YouTube. I should have had it open already. Library, where's my videos playlist? Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I should have opened this already. Where's my videos? Okay, my internet is not working. Let me close the window. Library. What's up with my playlists? Home. Okay, let's just go to history. There's something wrong with my YouTube. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. I see what happened. I had the wrong account. Oops. Had the wrong account. Okay, got it. So we're gonna watch this. No, that's mine. We're gonna watch this one, and this one. Boom. Okay. So we're gonna watch 3 short videos, guys. 3 short videos. And the first one is about bees. Bees, abejas. And many people are scared of bees, but they're very important. Bees are very important. Okay, let me share sound. So bees are very important, guys. They are the reasons why flowers and plants get pollinated. Do you guys know what pollination means? Pollination? No? Okay. So pollination is when flowers and plants create pollen, little yellow stuff, yellow little powder. And that powder is basically like reproduction. So the flowers, they can't mate with each other. So the insects do it for them. So you know how like a man and a woman, they create babies? So the flowers and the plants do the same thing. And basically they so the bees land on the flowers, they get all that powder in their legs and they transfer it somewhere else. So it's basically like the male stuff, like the guy stuff. And they put it on a girl, it's the same thing, on a plant. So they transfer it, and basically the plant gets pregnant. The plant gets pregnant, and once it gets pregnant, they can make more plants. Okay, let's see who. Please mute yourself, guys. All right, guys. So bees are very important. Bees are very important. And let's watch this short video. It's very short. Short, guys. My chat is open if you guys need if you have questions.
Today, it's all about bees. Everyone loves bees, right? Well, not everyone, but most. And there's something comforting about seeing a bee buzz from flower to flower, a feeling that the universe is ticking away nicely in the background. But it's not all sunshine and lollipops. As you may have heard in the news, bees are in trouble. Across the United States, honeybees are suffering from a mysterious condition known as colony collapse disorder, in which hives are found abandoned.
So guys, this has to do with global warming. The world is getting hotter. So a lot of bees are dying out or moving away. They don't want to be in that environment. And he's going to talk about why and how.
And beyond the honeybee, evidence indicates declines in wild pollinators across both North America and Europe. The reason? Changes in agriculture. Wildflower meadows have been ploughed up, hedges have been ripped out to form bigger fields, pesticide use has massively increased, and humans have been trading bees around the world in tiny little boxes, causing the spread of disease. But why care?
So pesticides, poisons, and the basically agriculture people are cutting down plants to make spaces, making cities. So the bees have no home anymore. But the bees are very important, especially for foods, and he's going to talk about that.
So, here, in no particular order, are my top 5 reasons why bees are important. 1. Food. It's not all about honey. Bees, both the wild ones and the ones we keep in hives, are critical for pollinating plants that produce a huge range of food, including blueberries, almonds. The global value of insect pollination is estimated at 153 billion euros every year. And while this figure includes contributions from, say, butterflies and beetles, most of the work is done by the bees. Still don't care? Commercially reared bumblebees are important pollinators of tomato plants. If the bees die out, these plants will have to be pollinated by hand using little vibrating wands, which is less fun than it sounds, and more expensive. Tomato growing could become unproductive. No tomatoes means no pizza, and a world without pizza is a sad and lonely place indeed.
So he said that bees are responsible for beans, frijoles, beans. So no Taco Bell anymore, guys, if bees don't exist. Tomato, no ketchup, no tomato sauce for pizza and spaghetti, no salads. He said almonds, many other types of nuts too. How about blueberries? Lots of food that you eat, bees are responsible to pollinate and make sure they grow. Without them, they won't grow. So the world is getting hotter, and the bees are dying out or moving out. They're like, nope, it's too hot here. I'm going somewhere cooler. Okay, so let's see what else.
2. Biodiversity. Numerous creatures rely on bees for their own existence. Badgers will dig out the nest to feast on the juicy grubs. Bee eaters consume, well, you can probably guess what they consume. And a whole host of other creatures prey on or parasitize upon the bees, including the endangered oil beetle. Numerous wildflowers depend on bees for pollination. Take away the bees and there will be drastic consequences for both the plants and the animals that depend on them. The world will become a less colourful, less interesting place. 3. Bees fight crime. Not a joke. Bees have an excellent sense of smell, and in 2008, scientists developed a detector, essentially a box of bees trained to stick out their tongue if they caught a whiff of something dodgy, like explosives. An infrared sensor registers the movement in the bees' tongues and alerts security staff to the presence of danger. 4. Bees are watchdogs for environmental change. Or watch bees, if you're being picky. And speaking of picky, numerous bee species have extremely precise habitat requirements. And if that habitat undergoes a change, their populations will respond quickly. Now, this makes bees potentially good indicators of environmental disturbance, including climate change. One recent example is the arrival of the tree bumblebee in the UK in 2001 from France. The species has now spread to cover over half the country, but fortunately, it's not likely to have any negative impacts on native UK bees. 5. Ecosystem services. These are services to which bees contribute that go beyond just pollinating our food plants. Remember the wild plants pollinated by bees? Well, some of them will grow big and strong and soak up carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, a process known as carbon sequestration, potentially offsetting human-caused emissions. Their roots might bind the soil together, preventing erosion, and slow the seepage of water through the ground, helping to minimize floods. At present, no one's calculated the value of all these services.
So guys, so he was talking about food. Bees are responsible for foods, lots of foods, and many other foods that he didn't talk about. Maybe you want to research that, search it out. What kind of foods do bees are responsible for, you know? He said biodiversity. That means a lot of creatures, insects depend on these bees. He also said some interesting facts like watchdogs. So basically, they use them like like to check out drugs or something like that at. But I mean, you can use dogs for that. But he said that also that they're very sensitive to the temperature. If it gets too hot, if it gets too cold, they check out or they come in. And it becomes a problem. So bees are very important. Okay. And if the world is getting hotter, there is no bees. Okay. So we're gonna see how the world is getting hotter and why, okay? I'm gonna put another short video. There's just 3 videos, guys, and they're very short. Okay. So this one is 3 minutes long. So who's scared of bees? Anybody scared of bees? You can write it on chat. Who has been stung by a bee or like killed a bee? You know, bees are never. Yeah, don't ever kill a bee, guys, ever. They're very important. They make the flowers grow. If it wasn't for the bees, you wouldn't get any flowers. Okay? So be respectful of bees. Also, guys, every insect has their responsibility. Like ants, hormigas, ants. They're annoying, right? They get on your food, they get on things when it's hot. They're all over the house. Well, at least in my place. Um, but ants are very responsible. I mean, they're very useful. They eat all the waste, all the food you would want. They eat dead animals. I know it's nasty, but they do that. And they take care of all that stuff. They clean up the environment. They're basically cleaners. They clean all the food that you leave. They clean up the dead mice that's in your garden, the insects, also spiders. I know spiders can be scary, but I mean, spiders they get the insects that you don't want. Those little they be catch. I see spider webs with a bunch of flies. I don't want flies. Flies are also important. They're like ants. They take care of like dead, rotten stuff. Let me look at the chat. Never, not when they bite you. LOL, it's cute to see them leave a mark. Yeah. All right, let's continue, guys. So bees are important, guys. So please don't kill your bees. Just leave them alone. Stay away from them if you're scared of them. But don't kill the bees or you're going to kill the flowers. Okay? I'm fighting back. Stay away from them. All right, let me put the video.
Human activities, from pollution to overpopulation, are driving up the Earth's temperature and fundamentally changing the world around us. The main cause is a phenomenon known as the greenhouse effect.
Oops.
Gases in the atmosphere, such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons, let the sun's light in, but keep some of the heat from escaping, like the glass walls of a greenhouse.
Okay, guys. So the greenhouse effect, okay? So basically there is a wall in the earth, like so all the oxygen doesn't escape. So because we breathe, it's keeping safe between like an invisible wall. So there is an invisible wall, and it traps all these chemicals, like they say water vapor. Water vapor is like when it becomes rain. Carbon dioxide is like car smoke. Methane, all these chemicals. Okay, but so the sun warms up the earth, and all these chemicals don't let the heat get out. So all the smoke in the air from factories and cars, it keeps the heat inside the earth, and the heat cannot get out. So the world is getting hotter because of all these chemicals. Okay?
The more greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, the more heat gets trapped, strengthening the greenhouse effect and increasing the Earth's temperature. Human activities, like the burning of fossil fuels, have increased the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere by more than a third since the Industrial Revolution. The rapid increase in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere has warmed the planet at an alarming rate. While Earth's climate has fluctuated in the past, atmospheric carbon dioxide hasn't reached today's levels in hundreds of thousands of years.
Okay, guys. So carbon dioxide, like I said, it's smoke from cars and factories. And it's never been as high as now. These times after the Industrial Revolution, when factories were starting to be made, cars were starting to be made, so much smoke in the air. And it's because you burn fossil fuels. A fossil fuel comes from the earth. So they're fuels that have been on the earth for a very long time. And those what they're called fossil, like fossil bones, fuel. Okay? So it's never been as high as now.
Climate change has consequences for our oceans, our weather, our food sources, and our health. Ice sheets, such as Greenland and Antarctica, are melting. The extra water that was once held in glaciers causes sea levels to rise and spills out of the oceans, flooding coastal regions. Warmer temperatures also make weather more extreme. This means not only more intense major storms, floods, and heavy snowfall, but also longer and more frequent droughts. These changes in weather pose challenges. Growing crops becomes more difficult. The areas where plants and animals can live shift, and water supplies are diminished. In addition to creating new agricultural challenges, climate change can directly affect people's physical health. In urban areas, the warmer atmosphere creates an environment that traps and increases the amount of smog. This is because smog contains ozone particles, which increase rapidly at higher temperatures. Exposure to higher levels of smog can cause health problems such as asthma, heart disease, and lung cancer.
Okay, guys. So the temperature when it rises, they said that the health can be affected. Like the smoke, it it affects your lungs. It also affects crop growing, like food, crops. What else does it affect? Uh, Health, food, weather. The weather, like I said, the weather. It gets hotter, or you know, what else did it say? It said health, food, weather, and let me go back and check. So we got 3. There it is. So oceans, the oceans are rising. They're going higher because the ice is melting, okay? The ice is melting. Where was I? So health, because of the smoke, like this is Los Angeles, the smoke in Los Angeles is lots of smoke.
Increase rapidly at higher temperatures. Exposure to higher levels of smog can cause health problems such as asthma, heart disease, and the rate of climate change is caused by humans. Humans are also the ones who can combat it. If we work to replace fossil fuels with renewable energy sources like solar and wind, which don't produce greenhouse gas emissions, we might still be able to prevent some of the worst effects of climate change.
So solar and wind, solar panels and windmills. Who has solar panels in their house? They can be free. You have some? That's good.
Yeah.
They can be a bit pricey, but they're helping the environment, and you're helping out the environment. Okay? Because that electricity, if you don't have solar panels, where do you think that electricity comes? From electric plants. And those are killing the environment. Okay? So so windmills or solar panels, they are helping the environment, okay? That's good that you have some, that your parents have some. So, okay, last video, guys. Last video, let me check the chat. Hold on. So this one is about solutions. So they're gonna talk about more about windmills and solar panels and why is it helpful, okay? This is the last video, and then I'm gonna explain to you guys the project. I already posted it, but I'm going to explain it to you in details. And if you have questions, okay?
Much.
Okay, let me share.
Climate change is just too much. There's never any good news. Only graphs that get more and more red and angry. Almost every year breaks some horrible record, from the harshest heat waves to the most rapid glacier melt. It's endless and relentless. We've known for decades that rapid climate change is being caused by the release of greenhouse gases. But instead of reducing them, in 2019 the world was emitting 50% more CO2 than in the year 2000. And emissions are still rising. Why is that? Why is it so hard to just stop emitting these gases?
Look at that, guys. That's smoke from factories. That's CO2. And that's destroying the world. Also cars, okay? Not just factories, but cars too. The electric plants, like if you don't, I know a lot of you guys don't have solar panels, but basically your electricity might come from a power plant that's producing these gases, okay?
Our collective CO2 emissions can be expressed as a product of 4 factors and their relationship with each other. 2 of them explain why worldwide CO2 emissions are still rising, and 2 explain how we can stop that. Population size, economic growth, energy intensity, and emissions per energy unit.
Okay, guys. So population. Population size is a big issue, a huge issue. The world is getting very crowded, very crowded. And it's not that it's getting crowded because there's a lot of places in the world that, okay, there's no cities there, like in the mountains or in the deserts. There's no people there. Yes, but where there is more houses, more buildings, more factories, more cars. So all of that is producing a lot of pollution in the atmosphere, plastic bags, plastics, so much pollution, and it's becoming an issue. And you know, the world is defending itself with the viruses. Every 100 years, we have a virus. 1720, 1820, 1920, 2020. Every 100 years, we get a new virus. We got the Ebola, we got the influenza, we got the Black Death, because the world is like, it's like, oh, we need to get rid of these humans. They're destroying the earth. And that's the truth. Basically, we are destroying the earth. Not you guys in general, but like everybody like at once. Like you might do things that you don't even know. I do a lot of things, like drive a car. Every time I turn my car on and I see all the smoke coming out of my car, it's like, I mean, there's nothing I can do, right? So your computers were manufactured in a factory, your phones. I mean, there's nothing we can do. So they're gonna talk about it, okay?
Unit produced. Number 1, population size. People need food, homes, and clothing, and they demand luxury products from iPhones to $1 cheeseburgers. More people, higher CO2 emissions. It's a very simple equation. The global population is growing, and according to the UN, it will level off at about 11 billion in 2100, which is 40% more than today. The only way to slow down this growth is investment in healthcare and access to contraception and education.
Okay, guys. So healthcare is very important for our future. Contraceptions. Too many families have too many kids. There's people that have kids really young and then they have like 10 children. Just in my house, we have 15 people in my house. That's a lot. And I know many of you guys have a lot of people in your house. Each house has like 4 cars and 20 people in there. I have a lot of people. I used to have a lot more in my house. But the schools are starting to teach more about contraception, okay? So there is free protection in the nurse. If you ask them, they'll give you free protection. It's free. We want you to reduce population, okay? And education. So we need to be educated so we can figure out how to save this earth. So the more educated people, the more we have, the more better it is for the world to be saved, because it's dying. The world is dying, guys. It really is dying.
In developing countries. But even with massive investment, it will take a few decades for the effects of lower birth rates to manifest themselves. So the global population will keep growing for the foreseeable future, and as a consequence, global CO2 emissions will.
So guys, the population is growing really bad, and each person produces a lot of waste, a lot of smoke, a lot of CO2 into the atmosphere. So maybe some people should adopt, you know? Adoption is a pretty good you'll save lives and you'll save the earth with adoption.
Rise over the next few decades. Number 2, growth or getting richer. But it's not just about our numbers. The richer and more developed we are, the more emissions our lifestyle produces.
Look at that. Back in the day, farmers, they didn't really waste a lot of energy, a lot of smoke. They didn't have cars. But then the world started getting more advanced, getting reading books. How do you think those books were made? In factories, couches. And then you have to produce TVs and computers, more factories, and then cars, sports cars. All those cars and technology is just killing the world. So the smarter we get, the more we kill the earth. But we need to find a stop. We need to find a solution.
Produces. A programmer in the US has a higher CO2 footprint than 50 farmers in Uganda.
Look at that. Programmers, those are people that work on computers. They will produce more CO2 than a farmer. Okay, why is that? Maybe the technology he uses, the cars, he lives in a city, you know, and farmers don't use computers or, you know.
The world's wealth is growing almost everywhere. And although it's far from evenly distributed, economic growth has led to the highest standards of living and the largest reduction in extreme poverty in human history. Growth has become the dominant mantra of the world's economies, no matter what kind of political system they have. It's unlikely that rich countries will give up the concept of growth anytime soon. But even if they were to, developing countries want to become rich too. For billions of people, the end of growth would probably mean staying poor, and so developing countries are not willing to stop growing their economies. All in all, we can be sure that growth as a guiding economic ideology is not going to go away anytime soon. More countries and their citizens around the world will grow and become richer, while the rich economies will continue to grow their wealth. There are some signs that growth can be decoupled from CO2 emissions, but we're not close to that yet. As a consequence of this growth, CO2 emissions will rise. Okay, so far we've learned that because of population growth and economic growth, humanity's CO2 emissions will increase.
Okay, because of population growth, CO2 rises. All right, guys? So hope you guys are paying attention, guys.
Which is the opposite of what should be happening. We need to slow, peak, and then reduce annual emissions. The next two factors describe how we can actually do this. Number 3, energy intensity. Energy intensity describes how efficiently we use energy. A street food vendor in rural Brazil might burn coal to cook, while a street food vendor in France might use an induction stove.
Okay, guys. Barbecues create smoke into the atmosphere. That's CO2. But then there's new technology that uses other energies. They don't produce any smoke into the atmosphere. So technology is good.
Stove powered by nuclear energy. The latter is way more efficient. The more efficient something is, the less energy we need to do something, be it powering a metropolitan area or grilling a kebab. So making our technology more efficient and coming up with more efficient ways to organize our societies is one of the most important ways to reduce the modern world's CO2 dependency. This can mean everything from reducing power consumption with AI, the electrification of the transportation and industrial sectors, or sustainable concrete production. The opportunities for improvement are almost limitless, and human ingenuity can run wild. But we know that increasing efficiency alone will not be enough, mostly for 3 reasons. 1. Direct rebound effects. This means that once something becomes more efficient, it's used more, and so overall the increased efficiency does not lead to a reduction as impressive as you would first think. Or worse, sometimes more efficiency makes humans not use less of a resource, but more of it.
Guys, plastic. Plastic is killing the world. You can't really destroy plastic. And then, so all this plastic is polluting the oceans, and it's pretty hard to get rid of, okay?
When planes became more fuel efficient, ticket prices decreased and more people started to travel by plane. So making things more efficient does not automatically mean less energy use in total. It might have the opposite effect. 2. Indirect rebound effects. Sometimes when you save money on a thing that's become more efficient, you might spend it elsewhere. For example, if you buy a more fuel-efficient car, you save money on fuel and end up with extra funds in your bank account that you might spend on a vacation and take a flight with. So in the end, you might actually emit more CO2 despite getting a more efficient car.
Commercials. Deforestation, guys. That's deforestation.
3. And lastly, the more you optimize for efficiency, the harder and more expensive it becomes to get more efficient. So over time, the return on investment slows down. And with many technologies, we are already pretty efficient. But regardless of how efficient we make our economies, as long as we need at least some energy, we will have emissions. Efficiency alone won't create a zero-carbon world. This brings us to our last factor. Number 4, CO2 emissions per energy unit used, or our global carbon footprint. Humanity's global carbon footprint is the CO2 released per energy unit generated. For example, coal plants release much more CO2 than solar power per unit of energy.
Guys, solar panels are saving the world. So coal plants, so electricity comes from a plant, and maybe they're using coal to produce electricity. But solar panel, they create energy without using this energy from the coal. Okay.
Than solar power per unit of energy. This relationship is crystal clear. The more fossil fuels we burn, the higher our CO2 output. Fossil fuels are the greatest lever humanity has right now. Of course, it's impossible to shut down coal and oil overnight without throwing society into chaos. But the reality is that we're not doing nearly enough to keep fossil fuels in the ground and use lower carbon alternatives. We need to do 2 things to speed the transition away from fossil fuels. First, we need to use the real leverage we have today with today's technology. There are a lot of things we can do extremely quickly. We can leave nuclear power plants online longer. We can cut subsidies to the fossil fuel industry and funnel them into renewables. We can price carbon emissions harshly and increase the price each year to create strong incentives for the world's industries to transition. We can enforce strict standards for energy efficiency and for any type of new construction. We can phase out fossil fuel vehicles. Next, we also need to invent new and better technology. Without new technologies and innovation, it will be impossible to achieve a zero CO2 emission world, be it from technologies like carbon capture or a new generation of nuclear power plants to new batteries that revolutionize the energy storage from renewables. But innovation takes time, years and decades, and we don't have this time. Every year we keep adding more carbon to the atmosphere. This means we can't keep relying on innovation alone. We need to find ways to reduce emissions today while we invent what we will need in the future. The less fossil fuel we burn over the next few years, the more time we give innovation to catch up. The more low-carbon energy infrastructure we build today, the more we can compensate for economic growth and the people born today. The more coal power plants in construction we stop from being finished, the more CO2 we save. Neither innovation nor the alternatives we're using today alone can solve rapid climate change. But innovation, together with a decisive move away from fossil fuels where it's possible today, could do it. Solving climate change will be complicated. We have to account for the needs of billions of people and the reality that right now, society runs mostly on fossil fuels. This will not change overnight, but it needs to change as quickly as possible. And it is still very much possible. We'll look at different...
Did you guys catch some of the solutions at the end? The video was talking about some solutions. First of all, solar panels. Instead of using solar panels are starting to be more, you see more solar panels. in the parking lot right here in the Dominguez parking lot, there is solar panels on the parking lot. There's a lot of schools like that, and they're helping the environment by using solar panel energy. Other solutions are also making it available for free to the public, less taxes and less cheaper, and making like other stuff like coal, gasoline more expensive. So you're gonna be forced to use electric cars. Okay. So what else did they say? They said inventing new technologies. So we need the world needs to get smarter so we can invent better technologies. Maybe technologies we don't know about yet. Okay. So remember education. An educated future is good for the environment. Okay.
In
The education. So education will help the environment by if there's more people like engineers. Engineers are inventors that create things. Maybe they can invent a technology. Okay. Maybe scientists can invent a technology to help the world. Okay. So those are some solutions, guys. Power windmills, like I've seen windmills in like the desert near the desert. I've seen not a lot through here because they usually they're usually in more windy places. And I've seen a lot of solar panels, and many houses already have solar panels. Like the house I live at, where I rent, they basically made us put solar panels. They made you. So in the future, they're gonna make you wherever you live. They might make your place where you live and put solar panels. Okay. So we talked about some problems, like the ice caps are melting. We CO2, the bees. These are some issues. There's a lot of problems, a lot. You can research it yourself, guys. Research. That means you go online, you Google it, and anybody use Google? You can type in global warming. And then they give you a lot of pictures, a lot of reasons. You can go to YouTube. Okay, so research, guys, research. This project is about researching. So I want you to discover solutions, problems and solutions. Okay? So I already posted your assignment. Your assignment is create an artwork about global warming. It can be about what is it, the effects, and how to stop it. And I want you to write a reflection. Very easy, guys. So you can do it on paper or you can do it on Google Classroom. I mean, in Google Slides. Google Slides. It's pretty fun in Google Slides. And I posted some examples. I'm going to show you some examples. It's very easy, guys. I'm going to show you how to do very easy artwork. But just because it's easy, I don't want you to do something very simple. I want you to be creative, okay? So look, I did this and you can move things around. I create this for my last class. So I made my artwork. I think this is a little too simple. It needs a little bit more, maybe a title, some more pictures. This is about the bees and pollution. I could have added more smoke at the round. And after you do your art, I want you to do a reflection. Talk about it. What do you do? What did you do your artwork about? Why? Maybe talk about solutions. So there's you can talk about bees, CO2s, greenhouse effects, deforestation, pollution, the ozone layer. If you want to research so that you can learn a little bit more, okay? So here's some examples. Look, this is something I did like 5 minutes, very fast. So I'm gonna do one for this class and I'm gonna teach you guys how to use Google Slides. Okay? So this is a new one. I have a doctor's appointment to go to. Can you mark me here? Yes, Edgar. Good luck on your doctor's appointment. Now on Friday, I will keep helping you guys if you missed it, okay? On Friday, I'll repeat this. All right, guys. So this is how you create an artwork in Google Slides. First, you need a background. What kind of background are you gonna want? I want one about the ice caps melting. The ice caps melting. So I'm going to add a background. Choose image, and you can search it on Google image search. And you put maybe Antarctica. Antarctica. That's going to be my background. The one you see first. So I like this one. Just going to put the first one I see. So that's a background. The background. Look, that's where you click background. Okay. And now I'm going to add images. What do you want to talk about the ice caps melting? What? You can add a title. So let's add some images. Image, insert. Look, I click insert, image, search the web. So maybe I can put a sun, a very hot sun. Hot. I know the sun is hot, but I want a picture that shows that it's hot, you know? So hot sun. So you see how I just wrote hot sun? I want a picture like this one. Something that there has no background. The background is like the back of the picture. So what you do is, what you do is click what you want and then click PNG. That word, PNG. That's like a magic word. Okay? PNG means like an invisible background. Okay? So I clicked PNG and now it gave me a lot of pictures with that don't have a background, like the back. I don't want that. So some of these have some white still. So let's look around. I'm just gonna choose one very quickly, just for the demonstration. Okay, that one doesn't have a white background. So now I can make it smaller, bigger, done. So now what else? What do you want to say about the ice caps melting? Let's put a melting ice. Something, let's put, so this is just for the demonstration. I want you guys to be creative, okay? Insert, image, upload, search the web. I leave PNG, that's the magic word. Melting ice, melting ice. Okay, I don't have time to search, so I'm just gonna put a random one, okay, guys? But you guys have a lot of time. Oh, look, you see? That one has white in the back. I don't want that. So I'm gonna delete that picture and get another picture. I don't want that picture. I want one with the, you can also put transparent. Search the web. So something very quick, I'm trying to, just for the demonstration. How about melting ice cream? Just for fun. No. No, I think I'm just gonna keep ice. I don't want ice cream. That just makes it silly. I'm just gonna add one. Let's see. Come on. My internet's, oh, there it goes. Okay, so it's not very good, but if you have time, you can do something better. So I posted this melting ice. It could have been better, you know. How about, what else can we add for melting ice caps? Basically, the ice is melting in Antarctica and Iceland, and it's making the water higher. Maybe a tsunami. Let's put a big tidal wave. Insert image, search the web. Wave. Ocean wave. Ocean wave. This one's cartoony. It's okay, just for the demonstration. See, it has no background. It has no back. So I like that one, even though it's a little cartoony. It's fine, just for the demonstration. Oops. And I'm going to move this ice. If you guys have a question, ask me the question. So I know this has like a little line. I mean, just for the demonstration, I'll keep it. But if you have time, I want you guys to do a very good job, okay? Maybe I can add fire here. I can add a title. I can add maybe a polar bear. How about like a ship in the back? You know, so look, adding text box, insert text box. Okay. Oops. Insert text box. So you can insert text. So melting ice. And then you highlight the letters, and then now you can make it bigger. You can make it bigger. You can change the color. You can change how bold it is. You can change the font. I don't like that. You can change so much. So be creative, guys. I want you to play around with this. Just play around with it. Also, when you do a picture, you can change the color of it. Look, I'm gonna right click it in my mouse and you put format option. And then you can recolor it. You can change the colors. You can see, change colors. I don't like that, but just to show you guys. You can add shadows. You can make it darker, lighter. Play with it. Play with all the settings, guys. You can drop a shadow. See, I just dropped a shadow even though it doesn't go well right there. Just to show you guys, okay? Play with this. And then you can even add shapes. Like, let me go to the other ones. So I was doing this with my other class. Look. So this is like a speak bubble. A speak bubble. Okay? So maybe I can add a shape. Like I want to add a heart right there where United States is at. So I'm going to add a heart. So I'm going to insert shapes. Shapes. And I'm going to choose a heart. And then I'm going to just do it, the heart. And play, and then you can change the color. Be creative, guys. Be creative. Oops. That one you have to change format option. I'm gonna format option and change the color. You can just play with all the things that it has, okay, guys? But I want you to do something very creative. Oh, I think I did it wrong. There it goes. I'm having trouble with this. Okay, guys. So any questions on this? Any questions? So choose a topic. Choose a topic. Maybe you want to do it about bees. Maybe you want to do it about pollution, about ocean pollution. Or you can also do it on paper. You can also do it on paper, guys. So if you have art materials, awesome. Look, I'm going to show you some art that my other class did. Hold on, I'm going to show you some art that my other class did. New share. So my other class did this. They did the ice caps melting, the fires, the weather, and the sea level is rising. Okay, and the world is melting like a popsicle stick, like a ice cream. See, so you can also do it like that. It's your choice. Be creative, guys. Be creative. And let me show you one more that another student did. Where is my example? Here it is. Share screen. So this student did it on sea pollution. So they wrote, please stop with chemicals from the ocean. So look at the little fish going like, ah, what are you doing? Maybe they could have put a thinking bubble, a thought bubble, saying like something about why are you doing this? Look at the bags, plastic, pollution. So you can also do it in paper or you can do it on Google Slides. It's your choice. Be creative, guys. And one more, hold on. Share. I want you to guys, so if you do it on Google Slides, cool. And if you don't, just take a picture and submit it. But I want you to write a reflection. Tell me what is it about and why. Maybe something like maybe talk about how you can help the situation. Maybe it's about smoke of the cars. What can you do? Talk about solutions, okay? So research, look for answers. Use Google Slides. I mean, use Google, guys. Google is a big tool. Oops, just regular Google. Oh gosh. So just Google some information. Maybe you want to learn about bees. Bees. What kind of foods? What is it? Bees? I don't know. I didn't finish the sentence and I already got information. Which foods depend on bees? There you go. Look, I didn't even finish the sentence and it tells me. Look at this, guys. This is the list of foods that all the bees are. So almonds, apples, no apples with no bees. Beans, frijoles, manzanas, berries. There's so much information, guys. So just watermelons. So research. Maybe you want to do it on bees. And let me see what you guys said in the chat. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Well, no, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'll be helping you guys. I'll be helping you guys throughout. It's not going to be due anytime soon. And even when it's due, if I see that you guys still need more help, I will extend the time. So do an artwork and write a reflection and you're good to go. Let me do attendance now. Any questions before I do attendance?
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay.